All right, recording has started. You can let people in.
Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. All right, students are still joining. We'll get started in just a second. So, lots of students are joining here. Okay, wonderful. All right, so welcome everyone. I'm very excited that this is our first BioBuilder Club webinar of the year following our season kickoff a few weeks ago. So I'm really glad that so many of you could join us live, and I know that many teams are on fall break. So if you're watching this recording later, hello. So I am going to hand it over in a moment to Natalie to introduce our lovely guest, Karen Ingram. And if you don't have printed the bingo cards or the cheat sheet and you can't find my email, just put your email in the chat and I'll email you the files now. So without further ado, Natalie.
Thank you, Chloe. I can't tell you how very excited I am to be able to introduce one of my closest and dearest collaborators, as well as just a fabulous friend of mine. She is extraordinary. I will tell you briefly how she and I got to know each other because I don't want to take up too much time so she can run this workshop with you and you can see for yourselves how great she is. But Karen came to my class at MIT way back when. It was a freshman class that I was running. She was very interested in one of the experiments we were running, and she participated in my class for first year students there. And she, as she tells it, and this is the truth, hand to God, she did the experiment and it failed. It did not work at all. And she um, with her talents, decided that to understand why it failed, she needed to write it out and draw a diagram and make an illustration for what the system was, what was supposed to happen. And in that way, she would understand that. And at that very time, I had been asked to write a book, the BioBuilder textbook, which many of you have and have digital copies of. And I was so impressed, and not only with Karen's talent, but also with her approach to this didn't work. I'm not going to just be demoralized and think I'm not good at it and just go away. I'm going to figure this out. I love that about her. And so we started working together then. She is the illustrator of the BioBuilder textbook. And so all the beautiful illustrations in that book are hers. We worked together on it. And then the last story I'll tell, there are many, many, is that when it came time to open our headquarters inside of Ginkgo Bioworks at the Learning Lab in the Seaport, I had these giant walls. And Karen was one of our first visitors. She came by and I said, would you do a mural for our learning lab? And she said, well, what do you have in mind? So I went to her website and there were these tarps that were over these construction sites on her website. And I said, I really like those. And she said, well, as luck would have it, those are in my mom's garage. And so she brought them up. They are hanging in our learning lab as physical objects, repurposed to be the materials that you see as you come into our headquarters and our learning lab. And there was a little bit extra. And so I carry around a BioBuilder bag, which is made from those tarps that were hanging in New York City over those construction sites. So she is a fabulous artist. She is a great friend, a wonderful communicator, and I will stop talking and bragging about her and let her share this wonderful, I think it's extraordinary and really one of a kind activities called Fallacy Bingo. All right, Karen, all you.
Hello. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm super excited to share this game with you. So let me just share my screen really fast and we'll get started. Okay. Let's just see. I just want to Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, yeah. Okay, we are going to play a game called Fallacy Bingo, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of history about the game itself. But first, I want to talk to you about what a fallacy is. So, a fallacy is often a mistaken belief, especially one that's based on an unsound argument. Um, the synonyms for fallacy are misconception, misbelief, delusion, mistaken impression, error, mistake, misconstruction, and so on. So you kind of get the idea of what a fallacy is. And the origin of this game was through this program called LEAP, which was a synthetic biology leadership accelerator program. And I guess it was probably like about 8 or 10 years ago that I was part of this program. But through the program, so one thing that I should mention is that I have a background in marketing and advertising, and through that industry, I learned how to process information and to put it in digestible nuggets. Um, and when I was a elite fellow, I was talking to a bioethicist, and her name is Vika Betten, and she's from the Netherlands. And as the two of us were talking, we began to realize that a lot of what we had in common was displaying information and conveying information in ways that were understandable to other people. And a lot of concerns that we had were similar. And my background is sort of in the community biotech space, and I found that there was a lot of communications around that space that was very suspicious, and it bummed me out because I thought that there was a lot of interesting things happening in that space. And so Vika and I started talking, and we started talking about fallacies and about how many of them there are. And I was like, wow, that kind of sounds actually fun. So because if you think about fallacies, there are, I mean, for better or worse, like there are a lot of them. And so Vika and I sat down with her with her students because she was a professor at the new university in Amsterdam, and we basically crafted this whole game. So anyway, why are fallacies so lovable? Why do we love them so much? Why are they so much fun? Um, the reason why is because they oftentimes, like, they're great song titles, headlines, they're great memes. Memes are all over the place with fallacies. Um, Idioms, tons of idioms. Like boys will be boys is one. They create in groups, and they're persuasive. So lots of times when we hear fallacies, we get super excited because we're like, yeah, I totally agree with that, but it may just be a fallacy. Um, so it's not necessarily about reason, but it's about behavior, and we all can be triggered emotionally. So I think that's something important to remember. It doesn't necessarily mean that the fallacies wrong per se, but it means that it is designed to make you feel emotional about whatever the certain point is. So, and it also sometimes fallacies can create polarized perspectives, and that can be kind of damaging to understanding and conversation and bridging gaps. When in reality, with lots of situations, there are tons of gray areas. So there's lots of room to collaborate and work with other people if you're not butting heads. So Vika and I sat down, and we identified 25 of the most common fallacies, and we made this taxonomy. And I hope that you guys have a cheat sheet in front of you with all these fallacies that we uncovered. And we color coded them for your game playing pleasure, and divided them into overarching categories like deception and emotion, psychological persuasion, cognitive errors, counterfeit, and distraction. And one thing that I should mention is the overarching categories of this game, they're not fixed. So like in the wild, lots of different fallacies will overlap. And you may find that as we play the game that some fallacies could fill multiple categories. But for the purpose of the game, We're going to just pretend like, one example equals one fallacy, even though they overlap. So, here's an example. Like you may be trying to have a constructive discussion, and then someone will come out with like a name calling fallacy, and then maybe the media will jump on with a bandwagon fallacy, and then social media like will start to mock everyone in the discussion with horse laugh, and then we'll have like red herrings and expectation bias, and then voters or the audience like has no idea what to do, so you have fact like ignorance fallacies. So yeah, it just becomes like a total mess once they start to pile on. So an example of a fallacy is, for a just world fallacy is winners never win and cheaters never win, or winners never cheat and cheaters never win. But that's like an oversimplification, and it implies that everything is all right in the world and that, bad people never win anything, which is not necessarily true. So yeah, so you should have the cheat sheet and the game card in front of you. And I think if people are joining from multiple locations, you all may have printed out the first page of the game cards, and you may all have the same game card, but that's okay. That means we'll have multiple winners. So each game card has all the fallacies on it except for one. And if you want to go ahead and I don't know if you have like um, any coins, or if you have a marker, or if you have anything that you like to use to mark the game card, um, maybe go ahead and get that ready because we are going to get started. Does anybody have any concerns or questions before we start? Are you guys ready to go? Okay, Natalie says yes. All right, we're ready. Okay. So the first fallacy is a fallacy of deception and emotion. So we should be able to do whatever we want. There are a lot of things we do in the normal day that do a lot more damage than things like CRISPR. So if you want to take some time to think about what that fallacy could potentially be. Oops.
I don't know, like red herring or something.
It could be, yeah.
Something
Yeah.
along those lines. Not exactly red herring, however, an argument much like it.
Anyone else?
I was thinking it could be two wrongs don't make a right.
Yep. That's the one that I have as the example. Can you guys still see my screen okay?
Karen, I see this as kind of just minimizing the fear. Where does that fall?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, I think that's sort of where the discussion needs to happen. It's like this is kind of a blanket statement that sort of, is a little bit flippant. So it's like we should be able to do whatever we want. There are things we do during the normal day that do a lot more damage than things like CRISPR. I mean, I think yeah, sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical issues here. I have, okay. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
I can still see your screen. Yep, I see you and the screen split view.
Okay, I can't see you guys right now. Uh okay. Sorry, I want to be able to see you, but I can't. Um okay, well, I guess
Is your view not set to gallery of some form?
it was, but I just messed it up somehow. Um okay. I'm just gonna keep going. Um all right. Okay. So does anybody else have any thoughts about this particular um example? Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next one. So this is a distraction. By taking away farmers' ability to grow genetically engineered food, then people will go hungry and starve. This is why I choose to use this technology to save us and the lives of those around us.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, I agree with what whoever said that.
Hi, it was me. I think it was slippery slope. It's Ari.
I have it as a straw man because the idea of the straw man is that it picks out like the weakest point of the argument and highlights it, you know? Um, so, but I mean, I think that slippery slope could work as well.
I think there's scare tactic here too, right? It's like if I don't do this, everybody's gonna starve.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
I would say that also you could argue for a false dilemma because it's talking about either this is going to happen or this is going to happen, but there are a lot of other like in between options that could happen as well.
Yep.
I like that one a lot, actually. Which one is that under?
Fallacies of distraction. Because
Yes.
I think it's because you like focus on going hungry and starving, you know, and it's like that's a bit extreme. All right. I'm going to move on to the next one. One study found that female rats who ate GMO corn developed tumors more frequently and before female rats who didn't. What's that one?
I don't know if this one's included in the list, but word of mouth studies. I don't know. All I can find is that uh, there is no cited source other than some anonymous study. But even that's like a little iffy. Like,
Yeah.
What about cherry picking?
Yeah. Cherry picking. Yeah, because it's kind of, I mean, I think it's just kind of highlighting the worst aspect and magnifying it. And I've, yeah, I don't know. Natalie, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Well, only that I heard something that sounded so much like this in a meeting that I saw on television from our yeah. So this is not a made up story.
Yes, yes. And it's like one study versus like how many studies out
Right,
there, like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? All right, I'm gonna keep going. All right. Okay, so genetically modifying food is totally unhealthy because you're going into the food and messing around with the DNA.
uh, would it count as ad hominem? I'm pretty sure not.
Would it be a hasty generalization?
No, couldn't be.
I think hasty generalization is a pretty good answer.
Appeal to nature is actually a pretty good answer, I'd say as well.
Yeah, I mean, those all make sense. I have circularity because uh, you're going like they're saying it's unhealthy, but the reason is because they're going into the food and messing around with the DNA. So it's like kind of genetic modification is altering DNA. So it's kind of like the argument is sort of it's circular. It's not really saying anything about what could be a concern.
Mhm. Karen, there's a good question in the chat which asks, should we be using this cheat sheet? So this is a green
Yes.
slide that says counterfeit. So when we're looking for what we think kind of fallacy this might be, we should only in this case be looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are within that counterfeit area of the cheat sheet.
Yeah, yeah, you should. Yeah, sorry, I
That
should
will
have
help us narrow it down, right?
verified that. Does that make sense? All right, Tiffany, I see you now. I see it in the chat. Oops. So does anybody else have any thoughts about this one before I go on? All right, I'm gonna go. Okay, as DIY gene editing gains popularity, someone is going to get hurt.
Scare tactics.
Yep. Yep. Does anybody have any thoughts about this?
I would say it's also kind of a hasty generalization. I know this is like part of a different category, but like it's kind of just saying this to like scare people, but without any like real evidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Oh, yeah, it's the modern way to get opinions to sway on a topic. Yeah, to be very like pointed and blunt. Yeah, I think social media is just filled with, inflammatory statements to get people riled up. But so is regular media and so is marketing. So, all right. I'm going to move on to the next one. If they're willing to inject themselves with hormones to make their muscles bigger, you can imagine they'd be willing to test more powerful things.
Slippery slope and hasty generalization.
Yeah, I have slippery slope. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like cringeworthy, but does anybody else have any thoughts about this? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I mean, you may have figured out some of the stuff is real statements from, and some of it is made up. All right, so getting sick after a vaccine or a flu shot and then blaming the shot for your illness. Which one is that?
The backfire effect.
No, but I mean, I guess it could go that way. Um, anyone else? Oh yeah, expectation bias. Yeah, that's the one that I have. Any other thoughts?
I hear this a lot actually when people talk about vaccines. It's sort of like an anecdotal experience that they heard a friend got sick after they got their flu shot, and um, so I don't know if maybe that's the expectation bias, or I don't know, maybe cherry attention, but I'm not sure. It's certainly not a just world. It's not the idea that somebody's getting sick because they deserve it.
Right, yeah, no,
Right.
true.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're inclined to believe it over it's almost like reinforcement bias, that if you're inclined to believe that a vaccine or a flu shot can make you sick, then every time you hear about somebody getting sick after getting their flu shot, you're like, there, see, that's
Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And that would like sort of make you never get them, which is not ideal. Yeah, Tiffany, I'm in the comments. There's a comment. They only get the flu when they get the shot. Here, I guess she hears that all the time. Expectation bias meets hasty generalization. Yep. Any other thoughts on this one? I'm going to move to the next one now. Okay, evolution is competition for survival. Since humans are products of evolution, we must compete to survive.
Appeal to nature.
Yeah. Is aught fallacy, naturalistic fallacy. Oop, I shouldn't have said that. But yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, if you look at your cheat sheet, make an argument that because something is unnatural, it is morally unacceptable. Does anybody have any other thoughts about this one? All right, I'm gonna move on then. Science is science. GMOs are just like vaccines. Over the years, we've been able to eliminate the most deadly diseases with vaccines like smallpox. Now, just like smallpox, we'll be able to eliminate world hunger and malnutrition.
Hasty generalization.
Would be false analogy.
Yeah, I was going to say false analogy.
Yeah, I have false analogy.
It's interesting because it's from the other perspective, right? It's from we should just let science do science, right? Science is science.
Mhm.
It's not a science sucks.
No. I mean, that's the thing is that it could go either way, you know?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any thoughts about this? All right, I'm going to move to the next one. The system wouldn't let that happen.
Appeal to authority.
I would say just world for that one.
I was going to say expectation bias.
I was thinking just world as well.
I was thinking expectation bias.
Yeah, I have just world as the, but I mean, it could, I mean, you know, it could be expectation bias as well.
I mean, if you're assuming that it's a just world, sure. I mean,
yeah. All right, I'm going to go on to the next one. All sensible people would agree with me.
I don't know, a hasty generalization.
Appeal to
Be a
tradition.
bandwagon.
Appeal to
Tradition.
Or
I guess
bandwagon?
the opposite
Bandwagon.
of ad hominem, you know? Instead of saying you're bad, instead say I'm good. You know, like that's what I would claim it to be, a reverse ad hominem.
I think I heard some people saying bandwagon, and that is no true Scotsman. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bandwagon fallacy. Because it just sort of assumes that, like, you know, you'd go along, if you're reasonable, you'd go along with the opinion of the person who is speaking or who is making their perspective known. Otherwise, you're not sensible. So jump on the bandwagon. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, genetic engineering holds the power to save humanity or kill it.
False dilemma.
Black and white analogy fallacy.
False dichotomy.
Yeah, false dilemma or like a false dichotomy. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's probably, I mean, that's an extreme position in both regards. All right. No person with cancer has ever avoided an experimental treatment because it might kill them. This is a hard one, I think.
Hasty generalization.
No.
Black swan effect?
Yes. Yeah. Can you tell me why it's black swan?
perspective that because something has not occurred yet, it's unlikely to occur or impossible. So no person with cancer has ever avoided an experiment because it might kill them. So kind of looking at it as it hasn't occurred yet, so it's unlikely.
Yep. Yep.
We should have bingo on our cards now.
Yeah.
Bingo.
You got it?
I mean, I think we all do because we have the same card set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, did everyone just print the first one?
I picked the first one, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to put in my instructions not print the first one, everyone, but okay, so we have a lot of bingos right now. Who used the first card?
I grabbed the sixth one, so I don't have it yet.
We can keep going. I mean, I have several more. We can just kind of keep going. Does that sound good?
How many bingos can we get?
How many bingos? I mean, as many as you want. All right, I'm gonna keep going, but okay, Mo wants to keep going. So if you got bingo, if you can, I guess, clear your card or use another one or just listen. But if you don't have bingo, we can keep playing. All right, so I'm gonna go on to the next one. Okay. We're moving out of the territory of science, but yeah, wars are always a result of tension. So this tension will now probably lead to a war. What's this one?
Could it be hasty generalization? Because it says all wars, but wars are always, I don't know.
It could be, but there's one specific one that I have it as listed. Anyone else?
Affirming the consequent.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yay.
Yep. Can you tell me why it would be that?
Because it's saying that like the whole thing is like the first part is technically true, but it's saying something, it's like kind of making the assumption. It's kind of like hasty generalization, but it's not always confirmed to be true. It can't always be true.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not really good at explaining.
No, but I mean, you can feel it when you see it. You're just like, ugh. All right, I'm going to keep going to the next one. All right. Don't you care about all the small town, hardworking American farmers going out of business at the hands of some huge GMO producing corporation?
Appeal to,
think I would say
emotion.
appeal to pity.
Yeah, I was gonna say appeal to pity as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like everybody's got that one right away. Any thoughts on why?
It's trying to make you feel bad for American farmers, in order to persuade you to choose the side that they want to agree on.
Yeah. But it could benefit American farmers, right? So
Yeah.
all right. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so dismissing new evidence by firing back that the evidence can't be true. Any ideas on what that one is?
Ad hominem.
No. I mean, it could be ad hominem in the way that like ad hominem is about kind of mocking or insulting, but that's like, a different, that's not really part of the
I,
taxonomy.
yeah, I think I would say entrenchment effect.
Yeah, I see someone put in the chat entrenchment effect and yeah, that's what we have here. And I think this one is actually you can see this one a lot. Like really, really, really often when people just sort of like dismiss anything that is said and just stick to their like just kind of whatever evidence they get contrary to their beliefs, they ignore and just kind of dig their heels in and do not change their perspective no matter what. Um, you see that a lot, and it's very obvious when you see it. This example is pretty vague, but it's almost like a definition, but you know, it's very apparent when you see it. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. We've been doing it this way for the past 700 years. There's no reason to change it. What's this one?
That's
Feel
tradition.
tradition.
Yeah, tradition.
Yeah, yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I think the last two kind of go together, right? Because people do have sort of selection around the data that they double down on and the data that they dismiss. And we're all prone to it. I think that the process by which it's collected is more important than the length of time that we've believed something. So, I think that um, it's great to recognize that this is a behavior, but then, thinking about how do you engage in a constructive way to think about, where the truth lies is hard, but it's important, right?
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. This powerful technology could be used to cure genetic diseases, but it could also be used to create designer babies.
I was thinking that's a red herring because yeah.
It could be. That's not what I have, but like it definitely could be a red herring because, you're talking about a technology and genetic disease and then like an extreme example of designer babies. And when you think about designer babies, you think about, Gattaca or um but I have
Appeal to ignorance?
Yeah, I was going to say appeal to ignorance.
it could be. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about these fallacies is that they can fill multiple categories, you know.
Strawman?
I have slippery slope.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, they could all make sense. Um, all right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Okay, you're joking, right? What's this one?
A horse laugh.
Yeah, yep. So this is like an ad hominem type of fallacy where you're just kind of dismissing what somebody says and mocking them. And this is also quite popular. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. If you're really afraid of clones, you should be afraid of twins too.
Hasty generalization.
Appeal to ignorance.
False dilemma? Oh, wait, sorry. Mm. Slippery slope, maybe?
I thought that was a red herring.
Yeah, I was gonna say red herring as well.
I actually have a straw man because it's misrepresenting the argument and kind of like, you know, dismissing what the person is saying by saying, you should be afraid of twins, which, yeah. But I mean, again, like these fallacies of distraction are really hard to discern, and ultimately, like, you know, it really just matters that you can see something that seems like kind of like a logical jump. Um, all right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Scientists have discovered the next new superfood.
Is that prejudicial language?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Mhm.
Can you tell me what makes you think that it's prejudicial language?
I was thinking like this kind of suggestive language is like superfood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yep.
Second bingo.
Nice. Nice. I mean, we can keep going if you guys want. I still have some more examples. What do you think?
I think I have four fallacies on my card, and I think everyone is the same each that we haven't examples yet.
Okay.
I don't know. I think are they the same on each card that all of them are represented?
Yeah, all of them are represented. Yeah.
Yeah, keep going and see if we can figure out the other ones.
Okay. All right. And again, as you've witnessed, they can fill multiple categories. All right. It's the more sustainable option, so I can't understand why anyone would want something else.
Affirming the consequent.
Could this one be hasty generalization?
Any
I was I was thinking ambiguity for this one because of like sustainable is not exactly like super clear what it means.
Mhm.
Maybe cherry picking since it's only relying on sustainability.
I have ambiguity too because just exactly what you said, because sustainable is kind of like a strange uh, word, and it's hard to really understand what exactly that could mean. I'm not sure who said that, but could you elaborate more on why you already kind of said why ambiguity, but could you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was just saying like sustainable, it's not really clear like is that like environmentally sustainable? Like what is that process of like sustainability really like look like? So it's I feel like it's almost like a buzzword, like you want things to be sustainable, but it's hard to see what that actually really looks like. So it's kind of like ambiguous, but it just works to kind of create an emotion in the audience.
Yeah, I think buzzwords are really good at fostering ambiguity because just for that very reason, like you're not really sure. Like it begins to mean something, but it may actually mean something different. So it can be a little bit confusing. But yeah.
Are you guys marking your boards? Because I have like bingo in one, two, three, four places.
I'm just trying to fill my whole card.
Oh, okay.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I have multiple big.
All
there's
right.
only a few empty spots now.
It's a new version of bingo. You have to get every square.
Okay, cool.
All right, I'm gonna go on to the next one.
That's actually called blackout bingo.
Oh, I had no idea.
All right, so she's arguing about how finding alternative energy sources will fuel our country, but I think that this will only raise our country's debt and throw money into a cause that's not top priority.
I thought this one was straw man.
That isn't what I have, but I want to know why you think that. I want to hear some other thoughts first, but I do want to know why you think that it could be straw man.
This is red herring, maybe?
That's what I have, yeah. So could you guys tell me, could you first tell me why you think it's red herring, and then I want to hear why you think it could be straw man?
Because this other topic about the money is irrelevant to this whole energy source being, fueling our country and everything.
Yeah,
It's nothing to do with this debt and everything.
yeah.
Alternative fuel has nothing to do with this other topic that they're bringing up.
Yep. And what about straw man? Why would you think that it could be straw man?
It kind of like misrepresents what that argument could be saying or entailing. So it kind of makes it seem that their like opinion is like incorrect, I guess, because it just misrepresents it. But yeah, it's also a red herring because it's not directly linked to what they were saying at the same time.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Like I said, especially with fallacies of distraction and counterfeit, like there's lots of overlaps. But yeah, I had red herring too. All right, so I know I shouldn't be checking her text, but I saw her checking my Facebook page the other day, so screw her.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so
Aaron, can I ask you, could that fallacy be called two wrongs do make a right?
yeah, actually, I mean, yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna go on to the next one. Let's see. Okay. Uh, mine's like rivers. Mine's like rivers can be broad. The broader the river, the shallower it is. Therefore, the broader the mine, the shallower it is.
False
Just to false, yeah.
That's what I have too. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
They're just just similar things.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna keep going. Can't you understand how sad that makes me, you saying such a thing? I never thought you would hurt me so that bad.
Appeal to emotion?
Yeah, I
Appeal.
was gonna say appeal to pity.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I once tried to take a cab in Amsterdam and got totally ripped off. Amsterdam taxi drivers are real scumbags.
Hasty generalization.
Yep.
Okay.
Or cherry picking.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about why you would consider this to be a hasty generalization?
Because it's assuming that every single cab driver is exactly the same.
Right. Based on the experience with one. Yeah. All right. So you don't even have children, you selfish idiot, and now you tell me how to raise my kids. What's this one?
Name calling fallacy.
Yeah.
Or ad hominem.
This is an ad hominem fallacy because it's like mocking the person who you're like conversing with. But yeah, the specific one is name calling.
You're a
'Cause
childless idiot, and therefore you don't know how to raise kids.
you're a selfish
You
idiot.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
All right. And okay, everyone wants the new iPhone because it's the hottest gadget on the market.
Bandwagon, I'm willing to say.
Yeah, that is bandwagon. But in terms of like fallacies of counterfeit, what would that be?
Is it the, I'm sorry, is it the one where it says affirming the consequent?
It could be, but what I have is circularity because
But
it's like,
yeah. It's like that's what makes it the hottest gadget on the market is that everyone wants it, right?
yeah,
Like it's the
yeah,
same thing, and it says that's why. So yeah.
yeah, and it's not really talking about like what's desirable about it. So I think from here on out, so you guys should does everybody have a full card at this point?
I'm missing three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Um,
I think I'm missing two.
do you know which ones?
Is everyone missing appeal to ignorance?
Still to, um,
Yeah, I'm missing three: appeal to ignorance,
yeah,
red herring, and then guilt by association.
I got red herring.
Oh, I have red herring too.
I'm missing
Yeah,
guilt
I
by
probably just missed that
association
one.
though.
I'm only missing guilt by association.
Maybe it would be helpful if we tried to come up with one ourselves that would fit into that category. See how we're doing.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Let's keep it not too spicy and not too mean.
I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see you guys if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, cool. All right, so do you want to look for a guilt by association? Should be pretty easy.
I mean, you shouldn't like trust someone because they're friends with people who don't believe in climate change, like a science spin on it. It's completely irrelevant. Guilty by association.
I would say something like, oh, you buy from a brand that like uses like child labor or something, or like really like has bad labor practices, and so therefore you're actively participating and like are directly involved in that.
Anyone else?
Erin, when you were coming up with all of these, how did you come up with the examples?
I just lived. Some of them came from students in the Netherlands, as you can tell, like the one about taxi drivers being scumbags. And then some of them, just came from like me trying to like just me looking through like news articles or, advertisings or advertisements or things people said. Um, Twitter, because Twitter is kind of inflammatory. Just, you know, and I challenge you to keep that taxonomy like close by and as you're, you know, surfing the internet or like doom scrolling, and I'm sure you will see so many things. And I think the biggest challenge though is it's easy, it stands out when you don't agree, but sometimes, you know, if you do agree, that's what makes it a little bit tricky. But it's funny because one exercise that we did after we came up with the taxonomy was we hosted a public event at a hotel, the Ace Hotel, and I got two researchers, or two, not researchers, two journalists from Gizmodo to stand up in front of an audience and give a whole debate based on, GMOs, yay or nay, like just like a completely polarized debate. And they just fired back fallacies back and forth, and that was really interesting. And I think that, uh, I mean, they're science journalists, so they believe in science. So I think it was fun, but also challenging for them to kind of take the opposite side or to take other sides that they hadn't been necessarily that they didn't necessarily believe. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a really it will be an interesting exercise for you to kind of keep it around and see how your own thinking is impacted.
Does anybody have any questions directly for Karen before we let her go? I will reinforce what she said. I hope you'll keep this cheat sheet somewhere and pull it out when you know there's something not quite right about what you're reading, and maybe you can come up with a language to identify what it is about it.
Share your identifications on Discord.
Yeah, and I would like to get your feedback on the game. So I may ask Chloe to send a survey around if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely. I'll send that out in our email. And if anyone is going to be interested in playing this with students or other members of the BioBuilder Club, I'll make sure that they can take the survey as well.
Cool.
I don't know if I paid attention very closely, but in the email you sent us, do you have the actual questions that you just went through with us?
I don't, but I can share them with you if you like.
Yeah, I think this would be fun to do with my students.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I think it becomes like really fun when fun when you start to like look on your own and see them on your own. That's when it really, um, light really goes off. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for participating today. I appreciate it. You were fun, and I liked your thoughts, and yeah, thank you.
And thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.